Cincinnati's own 1320 WCBG The Voice. Listen to me twice daily, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. and 11:15 p.m. to the Future Is Now broadcast as I apostolically and prophetically define, interpret, equip, advance, and accelerate you into your future that is now.
Hi, I'm Pastor Mark Tony of the Unity Baptist Church, inviting you to join us as we take a look at God's Word to receive inspiration from God for a brighter day. Join us right here on WCBG 1320 AM, the voice of Cincinnati.
That's a brighter day ahead, Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. on WCBG 1320 AM, The Voice.
1320 AM, WCBG Covington, Cincinnati, and 1320thevoice.com. This is the voice of Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay, this is Frank.
Good morning. You're listening to 1320 AM WCVG. This is another episode of OKaye, Let's Be Frank. I'm Kay. This is Frank.
Hey.
How we doing this morning?
Oh, you know, this time change thing is just not fun at all. I do not like it at all.
Time change. You know what's funny? I heard, I was listening to something yesterday and it said, God extended the day. I want to believe it was a story from Joshua. God extended the day so that they had more time to do his work. I know that's not why daylight savings time came about, but for all intents and purposes.
Well, I mean, I guess there was a way to look at it, right?
There's definitely a good way to look at it.
Yeah. It doesn't help matters, though, when you get home late and then you get up early, and that early is actually an hour earlier than what you normally get up. It does make it for a
I guess that's another way to look at it, I guess. That's definitely another way to look at it.
That's the way my body's looking at it for sure.
Anyway, so how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh,
Hold on, first off, I got to give a shout out to Flip Daddies downtown in Newport and New Reality over at Fort Mitchell Baptist Church Friday nights. Come check it out. Food, message, and a meeting every Friday night starting at 6. Come check that out and go see Jesse down in Newport. Flip Daddies. You'll want a burger and some food. Some good drink and good fellowship. Hang out with Jesse Onade down at Flip Daddies in Newport. Sorry. Had to throw that out there.
Had to throw that out there. No, I guess my week's been all right. Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know, Thursday. I think Thursdays are they're my relaxing days. That's my day to just not do anything. Sleep. So that's pretty much what I did. Friday night, I went to church with Kathy and...
Where'd you go?
Was it Heritage?
Heritage on Dixie Highway,
on Dixie Highway, yeah, in Florence, yeah. Okay, that was pretty awesome. And we got there at like 7. We get left about 10:30. So yeah, we was there for a minute. Took a little while, but it was a great time. I had good fun.
Sweet.
Saturday we went and cleaned up in Newport. You and I did for a little while. You and I.
Who did that?
You and I did that.
What?
You know we did.
What?
Yes, we did.
No. My twin.
No, it was you. And I tell you, all that bending over pulled the backside of my leg muscles right, so now my legs are killing me.
Dun, dun, dun. We didn't stretch. We should have stretched.
Right.
We should have had a stretch party beforehand. I didn't really think about it either until I got home.
Oh, like, man, pulled them leg muscles. I haven't used them in a long time, apparently.
Right, since the walk.
No, those were cramps in my calves. This is up here in the top part of my thighs and the back side. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a little cleaning party down in Newport on a Saturday. We're gonna have another one at some point. Somehow, somewhere. It's cool to just get back to the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Fun, rewarding.
Felt good for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Sunday went to church.
How'd that go?
In Maysville.
What was the message about, Miss Kay?
The message was about my when relationships get messy. That's what the message was about.
Oh yeah.
When
Was there a guest speaker?
Relationships get messy.
Was there a guest speaker? Did somebody talk about like a person, how that really related to them, or was it just a pastor? How'd that work? What'd that look like?
No, there was a guest speaker.
Oh yeah.
I guess if that's what you want to call them, guest speakers. They're not really.
Oh, there was more than one.
Yeah, there was two.
Oh.
There was two of us.
Just tell me the story. How'd that go? What?
No, it went really well. So what happened is we're having the message. We've been on relationships for a month and a half now, I think. And so this was the final message in this series was when relationships get messy. And seeing that I'm in a very messy situation in relationships, we shared our story at church yesterday.
Being very like vague, like I know the situation, but a lot of people that are listening and watching don't really know the situation.
You're right.
So, being the type of guy that I am, who, when you say we,
is me and Ken.
And who's Ken?
Ken is my husband.
All right. And so there was a relationship.
Situation.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. A relationship situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is I'm getting divorced, and we shared that with the church as to the fact that we were getting divorced and why we're getting divorced and how that played out. And just all of that, just how it played out, what's happening, the steps we took, and why we were sharing it with the church, with the congregation. So we shared it with them because they're a family. They love us. They have been there for us every single step that we've gone through, every minute of our journey since we started going there. They've always been open and loving and very respectful. I have gone through so much, Frank, that God's bringing me around to his way of thinking, for real. It's a process. And I was lost. I've been really lost for a really, really long time. And through him and through the help from that church, I've just had my eyes open. And there's a lot that's got to be fixed. And that's what we're working on. That's what I'm working on. It's what me and God are working on.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not to downplay your situation, but that's all of us, huh?
Well, that's true.
There ain't nobody in here that got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Only if you're choosing to do so. People walk around all the time and not choose to want to fix their situation. They just want to be upset about it. They don't want to fix it. They don't want to own it.
Very true.
They don't want to step into a new life. They just want to be complaining and gripey and, oh, poor pitiful me. They don't want to do the steps to change it. My point is I wanted to, and I am doing the steps to change it.
Well, we are all grateful for that, for sure. For sure. There's to walk Christ-like and to really do what he's wanting is it's a hard thing, and more often than not, people turn back to what is comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say they stop seeking him, but they definitely they would rather do something that is more comfortable than what is I guess what's in front of them if it's new. And I say that like when we talk about relationships, it's funny because like I've dated a few women that will tell you stories about their past and how dudes womanize them, and treat them like crap. You know, some of them have even like raped and all types of silliness, right? So to try to be a good guy and be Christ-like and be different, the majority of them don't really want that, you know? They kind of go back to the feeling of wanting to have sex after a week and a half, or wanting to jump in the sack because that's what they know as love. That's what they refer to as love. That's what they've known. That's what's comfortable. So when you don't do that, they feel like, well, you don't like me. So they go back to somebody who will do that, not understanding that that is not what love is. You know?
I know exactly. I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Well,
I've been that type of person. I have been.
Well, it's such a trip because not only does that affect, you know, them, but, you know, then I'm kind of stuck being like, I'm trying to be a good dude. Like, why are you not talking to me anymore? You know what I mean? And then it's like, what? I'm giving you exactly what you asked for, you know, or what you said you wanted. You said you wanted a good guy, right? That's not going to take advantage of you, or likes to just hang around you and just be around you, and doesn't want to get in your pants and all that bunch of stuff. And then now we're not answering the phone. You know, so I don't know. It's relationships are sticky and tricky, man. But I feel like that when you do the right thing, you'll be rewarded. You know, so tell me a little bit about the conversation. Like, what exactly happened at church yesterday?
We were up on the platform. It was me and Pastor and Amy and Ken, and we were all up there in chairs together, just like in a half circle, facing out to the congregation. And to be honest, I couldn't talk. I tried. I started the conversation.
Okay, you have a radio.
No, really, I couldn't do it. I started when it come to my part of the conversation, and I couldn't. I choked up, and Ken had to take over, and he did a great job, and it was awesome. And I just got to sit there and bawl the whole time. So that was pretty cool. He did a great job at rescuing me. But it was just talking about relationships and how messy they get. And so the reference was David, and David being a righteous man when he was younger, and David being a righteous man after the whole Bathsheba thing. But right in the middle of all this is the whole Bathsheba thing, you know, and how he committed 5 of the 10 commandments. He broke them in the whole Bathsheba situation. And the point of the message is that we do dumb things, for sure. And we get outside of what God wants us to do, especially when we're deep in our own sin before Jesus actually comes on board and starts turning us around. We do things that we don't consider being of any importance to anybody. And then when he shows you the light, he tells you that that's not the way it's supposed to be. And if you really want to heal your heart and heal your life and heal your wounds because you have messed it up by taking control, then you have to surrender and let him walk you through it. And so we shared where we messed up and why we messed up, or I don't know why, but where we had messed up. And now we're rectifying it. God's redeeming us. And so the church was very, very loving, very welcoming, very gracious. You know, a bunch of them were bawling their eyes out more than we were, actually. They just don't know how to.
Well, here's the cool thing, and that's what I love about what we do here is, like, when you actually get real and you actually let somebody know what life is like in your eyes,
Right.
people relate
Yes.
because everybody's living life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's up here. You know, it's so funny. We go to church and you ask somebody how's the day. Oh man, everything's great. God bless.
Right,
Amen. Praise Jesus.
There was so many that said, "There's no way I could have done what you two did. You two were so extremely brave and open, and there's no way. Like, we totally opened the door to anything and everything that could have been thrown at us. And the great thing is our church does nothing but throw grace and love, and that is so amazing, you know."
No, it's super cool. It's super cool, and I think it's an empowering thing, and it's not just about yesterday either. You know, both of you have a newfound confidence in Christ.
Right.
That, you know, I know you've been fearful of that day for a while, you know, and Ken has as well, and now it's over, and it really wasn't that big a deal, was it?
I mean,
you're sitting here today.
right. It wasn't
the world
a
didn't stop turning. The
detriment
sun
to
is
our world.
still
Right.
shining.
We're still going. The day didn't stop. It was a great healing experience for me, though, because there was.
Well, I mean, like, you probably won't realize until the next time that you get in front of somebody how much easier it's going to be to tell your story, and it won't be as painful and all that because of what happened yesterday.
Right.
And
That's pretty much what Amy says too. She says you two have got a redemptive story to tell, and when we can work it out to where we can actually tell the whole story, you know, in the glory that it needs to be told, with the redemption that God has put upon us, then it's going to be a very powerful message. Very powerful. Right now it's still very raw, you know, and very painful.
Well, we're just learning our lines for the play.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
exactly.
So, when we go, when we start traveling the country with this play, you know, we don't know what scene yet we're going to come in. But I was thinking about that yesterday. Down in New Reality, Mr. Chris had gone to Florida and been in a conference, and he was there with Pastor Francis Chan. He's a world-renowned pastor anyway. And Mr. Chris was just kind of like in awe of the realness. Not that Mr. Chris isn't real or New Reality's not real. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just how the message was brought across.
Right.
And how real it was and how much it really hit home. And so he really started revamping how he was doing his service, you know. And
right.
You could tell there was a new glow about him when he got up to speak this Friday. And he was super about God's change, you know, and what God is doing in that ministry. And I think that once you really go through what life has done to you, and you really truly seek God, once you decide to put it out there for real, the next time you decide to do so, God's going to be all over it and help you do it.
He's all through it. He is, that's for sure. I mean, you know, it started when I told my testimony, you know, part of my testimony in front of the church. You know yourself, he did all the ways he could to make sure I was going to stand in front of that church and give that testimony. It's not going to let me back out at all. And he didn't. He was like, okay, you've got to go do it. So, but being able to stand there and tell it was a very eye-opening experience. And I did feel his presence with me. I was still nervous and shook up and whatever, but he had his presence there with me. And it has helped me to share that with others. It's not still something that I can just open up and talk about the whole thing right now. I'm still very much in a very deep healing process through everything. But little by little, I can open up and talk more and talk to people about it that I wouldn't have necessarily done before. were taught to before. And this goes right along with this. With Ken and I, it just goes right along into the whole scenario, the whole picture, and all of the process. And I'm telling you, Satan can get into my head real fast, and I have to turn it around and say, Jesus, no, you have to take the wheel.
Right.
Because he can get in there real quick. And it's
Oh,
a very active choice.
We'll definitely find a way, for sure.
To make sure that I turn it over.
I've been in my head, like, especially yesterday. Yesterday was a hard day for a friend, man. Going through it kind of in my head, you know what I mean, about some things. It is a personal choice, you know. We've talked about that at length, about if it wasn't for my surroundings now and the people in my life now or whatever, I might have lost it, you know what I mean? Like, if it's just some things I just really don't understand that only God has an answer for,
right?
You know, and to be able to just sit down and listen and, okay, all right, I really don't know what to do, God. Like, come on, man, what's really going on, you know, and to really listen and take in what he's saying and be okay with it. Like, those are three huge things, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, a lot of us listen, you know, we get to the point where we can listen. But then, like, to really take it in and get myself out of the way,
right?
Like, I'm feeling this type of way, but okay, God, to really take it in.
Well, one of the things that I'm learning, and it's really pushing really hard, and still I said learning because I have not learned it yet, but we can't let our feelings get in the way of what the truth is. And he tells us what the truth is. He tells us what it's supposed to be, you know, and we can't let our feelings for what we want it to be get in the way.
Right.
Because what we want it to be may not be what he has planned, and he always has something better planned. There's no way we could plan anything better than what he's already got planned. It's just remembering that in a very active, proactive moment. You know, we have to proactively remember it. We have to remember it actively, and we have to remember it. What is that? Not act, the opposite.
Retro.
Yeah, that's the word. Like constantly, I guess, is the point. Keep it always there.
Right. No, it's super true. And as we go through things, we have to look for these instances of teaching, you know, where he's teaching us this thing. A lot of times I think that we fall into a trap of, you know, we go to church on Sundays and we listen and we're like, yeah, I want to do that, yeah. But then the first bad thing happens through the week, or the first trial comes up through the week, and we forget everything that was spoken either on Wednesday night Bible study or Sunday morning service. And we don't really look and really consciously see where the blessings are and where the transformation is really happening. You know, like I said a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of episodes ago, you know, we miss the gift for looking at the rapper a lot of times.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the small things. You know, I'm talking about that lady that just sat in the hammock and listened to the creak of the chains and the wings on the bee and the breeze through the grass and those types of things. When you choose to be still and just listen, there are a lot of gifts that you are given. And I think that's huge to be able to recognize that, because that's a lot of God's love talking to you.
Right, absolutely. I agree. I was thinking on our episode Wednesday, we were talking about us striving to be perfect. And why is it that we always strive to be perfect? And it kept coming back to me, well, because it says to be Christ-like, and everybody knows Christ was perfect. So I was staying there today, and I was going, what does that mean to be Christ-like? Because there's no way we can be perfect. So what is he saying? What is it saying to be Christ-like? And he brought it to me. He said, because you are to have the perfect love of Christ. And that is obtainable. You have to be perfect in who you are. And I don't mean that in a perfectionist way. He already knows that you're who you are, and he's made you and deemed that you're perfect. The only thing is now to be perfect in Christ's love.
Who was it that was talking about? It said, how many times should I forgive or whatever? 7 times, 8 times, whatever. And the dude said, Jesus says 70 times 7 or whatever. And
always turn the other cheek. It's like, don't you run out of cheeks? No, actually, you don't ever run out of cheeks, because if you're always turning it every time, you know, that side that gets smacked the first time, the other side's going to heal while the other one's getting smacked. So it's always there. It's always turn the other cheek. And just think about the way he walked. He was not loved by all, but he kept the perfect love always.
And he knew. He knew. That blows my mind more than anything. Like that story of Mark that I shared a couple weeks ago. He knew when he walked in that synagogue and the guy was like, please heal my hand. He knew that some of the people that were watching were going to hate this and run back King Herod and all this bunch of crap. He knew.
Right.
He knew. I mean, I venture to say that I don't know if he knew that he was only going to be around for three years. It was, his ministry was only going to last 3 years. But he knew it wasn't going to be long. He knew it wasn't going to last forever. You know what I mean? Just because of how people are. We all know right from wrong. For him to continue to love folks and perform miracles and these types of things, I think I know this is a testament to me. I tend to be like, man, screw it. It just keeps getting. I just keep getting messed around. I keep, this keeps happening, that keeps happening, blah blah blah. What's the use? We all fall into that trap, I think. But what you're saying is, it's not perfection. It's to keep going, to keep the mission going. Our mission is not his mission.
Right.
Our mission is just to show people love.
Right.
And I think it's a really good point that.
And I mean, every time we plant a seed, we're showing his love. Every time we water that seed, we're showing his love. And we may not get anything out of it. And what I mean by that is, we may not actually see when that person converts or know if that person converted.
Right.
But that's not ours to worry about anyway. That is not our job. That is his, and that is for him to worry about. Ours is just to plant the seed and to water the seed and to give the love. And for people to not understand why you love the way you love.
Right.
Well, come over here and find out.
Right. And it's so funny to find joy in that, that's a really good point there. I mean, just when people look at you and they ask, like, what do you want? What do you know what I mean? Like, you used to go up to your mom, or, I know a lot of people used to go up to their mom, Mom, I love you. Mom says, what do you want?
Right.
Right. That's kind of the deal. That's what we're trained to know and how to act.
Right.
But what you're saying is just show love. And when mom says, what do you want? You say, nothing.
Nothing. I just want to love you.
Right. And
I just want to love you.
That's what we're supposed to do to people. And it is crazy, whether it's in a budding relationship or whatever, you're supposed to act correctly and show love whenever, whatever that looks like. People that are trained by the world are not going to understand. They're not going to get. They're going to think you have some ulterior motive. They're going to think that they did something wrong if you don't act the way that they're used to.
All right. Well, I got
like what I was telling earlier about dating or whatever.
Right.
If you don't try to sleep with them right off the bat, they're going to think that they did something wrong.
Right.
It's not the case. That's God's love. You know what I mean? Like if you really love God, or you really believe anyway, there's still some goodness out there, where people, we don't got to jump in the sack for me to hang out with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't have to be that way. But society has trained us that
that's what it's about.
if we go out on a couple of dates and you don't kiss me and you don't jump in the sack with me, then I did something wrong. It's just not the case. This is trying to show you. honestly, I'm trying to learn true love. You know what I mean? Because as you're making strides, like I'm trying to make strides in my life. So that's not the way I used to live. You know, used to whatever. But we're not gonna go into detail.
Well,
but
you know,
it's the same thing.
it is the world, and everything in the world, everything on the TV, everything on the radio, everything everywhere is so counterintuitive from what
Ooh,
Christ
whoa,
says.
wait a minute. Okay.
Counterproductive, counterintuitive
I heard
to
another
what
word the
Christ
other day.
says.
It threw me through a loop. It meant the same as monotonous, and I can't look. Boisterous or something. I remember I just looked. I said, "What? Dadgum vocabulary? Okay, that's what's up." I wish I remembered the word. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So I mean, it just
Counterintuitive.
so
The word of the day.
Right.
We need to start adding a word of the day. We need to do that for sure. Anyway, go ahead.
Totally opposite of what the world says is what the Bible says. It's totally not.
Be not conformed to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Absolutely.
Romans 12.
The world is the devil's playground. It is just literally that. It is his playground. And we have to stay the light in this world and march forward in goodness and in love. And not perfection, because we'll never make perfection ever. But we can make the goodness and the love and the light. We can do all of that.
One of the things that Chris was talking about was changing the way he does service or whatever. And I truly believe that, especially people that are like coming out of recovery, or if you're new to Christ, or whatever the case may be, you have to understand who Christ Jesus is and what the message is. It's not, you're right, you're absolutely right. It's not about perfection. And so many people get it twisted. And that's what pushes people away, because they see it as a certain type of thing when it's nothing but love.
Right.
And that scares a lot of people. Like, it can't be that easy. It can't be. You know what I mean? It scares so many people when we talk about Christ loving you no matter what or whatever. I know, like, when you go to jail, right? Like, you feel so down on yourself, and you feel so, oh man, I messed up. Cheese and rice, I missed all this time, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. So in those moments, you find Christ, and you look, you know, a lot of people turn to the Bible and like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this. But once you get released and get back out, you start looking to kind of find your place again.
Right.
And a lot of people leave Christ and go back to what is comfortable because of the perception that, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't know what to do a lot of times.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not, it's God wants to walk beside you and help rebuild you through him. But we leave him because of our perception. We think that we think that he is looking down on us, or pointing a finger, or you're not living up to what you said while you were in jail type mindset. And that's really not the case. Like, he just want to be like, look, dude, I got this.
There's no condemnation in Jesus Christ.
Right.
There's condemnation in self. There's no condemnation in Jesus Christ. So if you're getting condemnation, you're getting it from yourself. You're not getting it from him.
Well, and the enemy has such a stronghold on our world. And I put myself in that category because he knows what he can use to get you.
Right.
And if you're accustomed to doing said things, you will use that.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. You know, like I can use a number of instances just within the past month, but that could have been detrimental and driven a brother away, for sure. But I choose to perceive this as God working in my life and clearing things out of the way and continuing to make me understand who he is and what I am in him.
Right.
You know, with him, I guess I should say. But it's such a trip to watch when you fight through a barrier, when you surpass expectations that you had on yourself, then you realize I could have only done this with him.
Right.
I could not have done this by myself.
Right.
That's the thing that you have to take forward. I cannot do this without him. So the next trial, because the storms aren't going to stop coming.
They're not going to stop.
So that's the thing that you have to carry with you always. I can do this with him. I can't do this without him. That needs to be the only thing that pops in your mind. You can't think about, oh, the storm, but this, but that, but my past, but she said, he said, we said, whoopty whoop, well, this is what I did before. You can't worry about all that. The only thing that really matters, I can do this with him. I can't do it without him. It's huge. It's super huge.
It is super huge. And he will continue to always be faithful. We're the ones that's not faithful to him. We're the ones that slack off and then cry, please help me again.
Right.
Please, I'm going to do better.
I'm gonna do better.
I swear. And he says, no, you're not, but I'm right here anyway
Right.
because I love you and come on in. Yeah.
True. For sure. That's so funny. Well, like I've said it before, like he sits on the edge of our bed every morning and wakes us up. And, hey, what are we gonna do today?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I'm here, whatever.
What
Blah, blah.
attitude did you wake up in?
And we
I love you.
we sit there and talk to him for a sec. And then, emails start hitting the phone, or we start remembering we got to get up and get the kids ready, or whatever. Life kind of takes over, and we leave him sitting there on the end of the bed until something happens. And we're like, God, where'd you go? Why did you leave me? Nah, you left him chilling on the bed, man.
Right, he's taking a nap.
He's chilling.
No.
He is there.
Oh.
He's with you.
That's why I have made 100% conscious decision to carry him, however that looks. And for me, it looks like at night when I'm sleeping, my worship music's playing. When I get up first thing in the morning, my worship music's playing. I get up, I'm getting ready, my worship music is playing the whole time. Then when Dalton's having his breakfast and he's getting ready, we're doing Bible study together. The Bible is reading. We're doing something together constantly. Drive him to school. The worship music is playing always.
Do you ever find that when something crazy happens, that just some type of worship song will pop in your head? Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. And
Yes.
that's the same with me. And it's almost like, all right, so you see the movie Jumanji?
Mhm.
Jumanji?
Jumanji.
Whatever.
Yeah.
My kids were laughing at me because I said Jumanji yesterday. Anyway. So like when something's about to go down, those drums start playing in the movie, right?
Right. Right.
Whatever. It's almost like we live in a video game. You know what I mean? Like when something's about to go down, like a song will just pop in my head, like, fear is a liar. You know what I mean? Like when I'm starting to get scared or something,
No, and that's a great thing, though.
But I think that that's so important. And when we talk about, like, you have a personal choice, what you let in, you let win. All these things are super true. So if you're listening to trap music all day and this, that, and the other, and talking about getting women and getting money and getting cars or this, that, and the other, then when life gets crazy and all you're going to think about is getting women, getting cars. Well, I don't have a woman and my car doesn't really work and my bank account's on E.
Right.
So, man, depression sits in.
Right.
Huge.
Right.
But if you fed your mind and your heart and your soul with fear is a liar, God's reckless love, you know what I mean? I lift my hands.
Right.
All these, if you fill your mind with those things and life gets crazy, because again, the storm's not going to stop. They're not going to stop coming. You fill your mind with these positive, loving things, man, when the storm hits, you're going to be, I don't need an umbrella.
Right.
God is my umbrella.
Right.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? And you're going to be filled with these positive thoughts, and you're going to be able to make it through.
Right.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday was, man, shoo-wee, man. It was kind of self-induced because I kind of knew, I kind of saw it coming or whatever, and I didn't get too involved this time. But it still stung.
So tell us what happened.
Oh, Lordy be. All right. I guess I'll say the story.
Someone's story.
So I meet this person, right? And this person has been it's female and talks about how much she loves God all the time. You know what I mean? And that's what was the main hooking point for me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're reading Bible together. I've never really had this before. You know what I mean? I haven't dated anybody in, I don't know, year and a half or so, something like that, a long time. It's been working on me. I need to, I want to be with somebody that's equally yoked. You know what I'm saying? I'm not all the way there. Anyway, long story short. Not really sure. But anyway, so so we start talking and stuff, and we hang out, go out to eat, talk about God a lot, our thoughts, our values and morals and things that have happened in our past, who we really are. I put myself like all the way out there just because I'm like, I don't want any surprises. I don't want you to think that I'm something that I'm not, because apparently I can put off some type of vibe to folks that where I portray something or something. I don't know, whatever. Trying to alleviate all issues up front, right? So we're chit chatting for a while. We hang out. We watch a movie and stuff and hang out. We sleep in the same place. Nothing happens. You know what I mean? Conscious decision not to let anything happen because I wanted this to be different than every other time for me and her, and I called I talked to Aquarius Saturday when he showed up late to the cleanup thing. Anyway,
thanks for showing up.
Hey, he showed up though.
Hey, he showed up. Thank you for showing up.
He showed up.
We are the ones that stopped early, so
it's true. It's true.
The
next one's gonna be bigger and better. But anyway, that's a long thing. So anyway, so I'm thinking. I tell him, I'm like, dude, like I feel great for not letting anything happen. And he reminded me. He said, "Imagine how she feels." I'm like, "Yes, she probably feels great too." So we go and hang out, and that night after I went to Christ Chapel, which amazing service on Saturday night. You get a chance, man, go check that out. Man, dude's awesome. But anyway, so she's like, "We're having pizza, if you want to come over, blah, blah, blah." So we go over, or I go over there, and the kids are, she's got a couple kids there, and we watched the movie and hung out or whatever with her, and like everybody's getting tired. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I had to work and get kids and stuff yesterday. So I woke up and we've been like texting like good morning like all the time. You know what I mean? Just like cute little beginner relationship stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so Sunday morning was like completely different. It's like what was really going on? And honestly, like my heart just like sank. And hey, Shane Gray in Kenya. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. What's up, buddy? This man's doing a lot of stuff in Kenya. We'll talk about that after I finish the story. But hey, love you, Shane Gray. Anyway, so like yesterday was just like really, really different. And so like, and I'm glad I was at work because I'd have been in my head like all flipping day. But it was really weird. Now, mind you, it had only been a couple weeks. I didn't want to like trip out. Like we're not dating, But I mean, things were headed that way. If we're honest, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't talking to anybody else. I didn't think she was talking to anybody else. Like, it was the conversations we had. I like you. Well, I like you. You know what I mean? Like, just, it was silly. Anyway, and then I'm like, "What's up with you?" And we usually talk like. The protocol between us was we were talking throughout the day, like pretty heavy, you know what I mean? Like a couple times an hour, texting each other. Hey, what you doing? Hey, where you at? What's going on? Hey, man, that's super awesome. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And two, I think 3 messages total all day long, which it's not about what they said. It was just like, why is the change? And the conversations that we had before were, look, if something happens, like, we're not invested into each other. So for you to tell me that, hey man, I don't really want to do this anymore or whatever, blah, 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 would gain more respect than just bowing out. You know what I mean? Just be respectful and like treat me like a human, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we had these conversations, like literally, like, you're independent, I'm independent. We are okay apart, apparently, you know, obviously we are. So if something goes around, whatever, you know what I mean? We'd had those conversations. So like yesterday, it just really threw me through the roof. And the explanation that I got was really just kind of like, really? You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, that doesn't constitute not texting a brother like you had. You know, if you'd have said, hey, look, somebody else came back in my life and I'm going to check that out or whatever, or I just don't understand why things had been the way they were or whatever. I mean, we could have talked about it or whatever. And then if from then on, if it's like, nah, this is not going to happen, bro. You know what I mean? Mass respect for that. Mass props for being an adult and talking about it, you know?
Right.
But just to give an excuse like that, like I really had to think about it. And I really had to, you know, your immediate is anger. Well, your immediate is sad. And then anger sets in. And then it's what is it when you're like, but why? You know, whatever. You know what I mean?
Pity.
Right.
Self-pity.
Right. So then after you go through all those emotions and you get back to reality, what I did wrong, back to life, back to reality, back to life. Anyway, when you understand where God is taking you, and that's after I got through those emotions, that's when the song started kicking in my head. You know what I mean? And that's why I was super glad that I had been feeding myself with that positive and that love and all that. Then I remembered God loves me.
Mm-hmm.
God's brought me so far.
Mm-hmm.
I am in this spot for a reason. This happened for a reason. I don't need to be nasty. It doesn't need to be stupid. I don't need to be, you know, get crazy about it. Blah, blah, blah. God's love is way more important than anything. Now I got to keep working because I should have thought about that first instead of getting all worried and angry and all that.
It'll come to you. It will come to you the more you yourself, and I say this because I know from personal experience as well, but the more you yourself realizes that God's love is perfect love. And for you to show God's love, then you will be able to, it's just crazy how when you actually have that love and you're just throwing it out there.
Well, and that's one of the things. And what you said earlier about, you know, planting the seed, watering the seed, and being the light for it to grow. I mean, we've agreed on that ever since I met you. That's so true. And so whatever the hang up is in this other person's life, which I can understand because I've been there, you know what I mean? Not wanting to really give up what I'm used to.
Right.
Planting a seed, you know, I have to look at this one of those ways. I either planted the seed or I watered the seed to show you what God's love is about. And it's not about, you know, getting in your pants or something physical.
Right.
You know, it's not about that. It's about actually caring about you as a person and wanting to just hang around you. You know what I mean? So whatever it looks like, at some point, whatever the future looks like, at some point, this person's going to remember. And they're going to be like, wow. You know, and not for I definitely don't want to, man, I messed up, man. I want to see what he's doing type deal.
Right.
But just so you know.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what love really looks like, or, you know, the attempt of that really looks like. You know, it's not about anything physical. You know what I mean? It's truly cherishing somebody and the present.
Yep.
I'm not talking about Christmas either. So to get back to my dude Shane Gray, man, Shane Gray, I've talked about this guy before. It's been a while. I think I talked about him when we were at Cincy Underground. This guy, we grew up together in Owensboro, Kentucky, and both of us have a checkered past for sure. This man, dude, God gave him the gift of singing. He's got such a voice, and he was learning to play guitar back when we were in Owensboro, and so he's been God changed his life. God got hold of him, changed his life. And like he's like kind of like me in a way that he's always been around it, sort of, so to speak. God's been trying to tug on him, been pulling on him, you know. And so he finally just gave in and was like, "All right, God, what do you want from me?" So Shane Gray went on a few mission trips over to Kenya, and I think he's been a couple other places. But he just goes and sings songs, he writes songs, and blah blah blah. Got a huge passion for kids, you know. So this place, I want to say it's like Maru or something. I can't remember. Shane, if you can hear me, if you're watching, man, throw that up there so I can give you a plug, bro. But he has touched this community, this country so much. He shows pictures all the time. Shane Gray Foundation, I know that's for sure. Go online and check it out. So he's got this plan. He's building a farm, and he's raising money to buy cows, because each cow can benefit this country. I think it's like $10,000 or $20,000, whatever it is. It's a lot of money for where they're at. And he's growing a farm. He's building a farm. This is going to grow a cow farm, basically. Not just for food, but milk and just whatever a cow can bring. You know what I mean? Like, I start thinking about hamburgers immediately, but that's just that's just because I'm fat. But no, man, this dude, it's so crazy to see what he's doing from where we came from. And this is a story that I want to help get out. And I want people that knew us to see what he's doing. You know what I mean? That, to me, that's more important than, you know, we meet somebody like Kathy, or, you know, a bunch of people in that circle, you know what I mean, who have just, you know, they've conquered their own battles, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I don't act like that, you know, I've been in the world any more than anybody else. But knowing how I used to think and knowing this guy and how the things we used to do, to know that he is 120% committed to a whole other country, another genre of people, to God's plan. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it.
Awesome.
We used to go, I'll give you a little tidbit. We used to go in the stores and we trade price tags off things. You know what I mean? Like, you go get one of those Power Wheels cars or whatever. Try to put a $20 tag on it, whatever. The store doesn't. They'll catch that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure they'll catch most of all of them these days. It's called digital, but
right.
Don't try this at home.
That's one of the reasons why they did it, because of idiots like this guy. Anyway, idiots like me. But anyway, it's a beautiful story. It's and another thing, he met the love of his life. He met this woman. He's laughing. But he met this woman that's, you know, they show pictures. I've never met her, but they, when he talks about her, when he writes anything about her on Facebook, you know, like, I'm just in awe. You know, she loves the dude that he is, you know what I mean? Right. And they both love God. And we were talking about relationships, to have a firm foundation in Jesus Christ. Right. It's, dude, I'm so proud of you, Shane Gray. That's so awesome, dude. I'm so happy that this is the direction God's taking you, and you're doing amazing things with it. It's so cool to watch. So I'll do anything I can do to help, man. If you need plugs, if you need whatever, I'll do whatever I can. Super awesome. But that's Shane Gray in a nutshell. Shane Gray Foundation. Check him out. I'll try to get a link or something hooked up to our website. so that you can go check out some of the things that he's doing. For sure.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Anyway, so I guess to kind of summarize what we've been talking about is perfect love isn't our idea of perfection.
Absolutely not.
Perfect love is weathering the storm with Jesus Christ and leaning on Him.
Right.
You know, as you're talking about Shane and I mean, we put ourselves through some storms, you know, and if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, we definitely wouldn't be in the positions that we are in. You know, God knows. He ain't dumb. You know, all the things that I've done in my life, I don't have a felony, I don't have drug charges, I don't have any crazy things that can really hinder a future in ministry. He's brought me through all these things just so all I have is a killer testimony.
Exactly right, though. Yeah. That's exactly it.
And that's Shane Gray, man. Like when he goes, he's at a spot where he can either choose to tell the story or not, you know, because God's always had His hand on him.
Right.
So he doesn't have to tell his backstory if he doesn't want to, because he's genuine. That's a real man talking to you, singing to you. Or he can validate his story, validate what you're looking at with his backstory. You know, so either way, you know, it's super cool to watch. It's super cool to see. But the best thing is to know that no matter what, God's got your back.
Yes.
God wakes you up every morning. He wants to walk through life with you. He's not condemning you. And He doesn't want you to be perfect. He just wants you to show love as He does.
He knows you're not going to be perfect. He knows it.
Well, that's why, I mean, I got to see my son because you're going to jack things up, bro. You know what I mean?
Like,
That's literally what happened.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. There's no way, and it's not ever going to change unless I send him to take care of him. Period.
I'm going to have to send him again because y'all are jacking stuff up again. He's coming. But, in the meantime, I just need you to be you.
To be you.
You know, love like I do, and be you, and be fishers of men.
Right.
That's all I need from you.
Because I created you to be you. I didn't create you to be anybody else. I didn't create you to be anything else. Like, God created it. Created us. Everything there is about us. He did that.
Right. And that's what I want to get across so much, is that you have certain abilities or whatever, you know. There's certain things that you can do because you're supposed to reach a certain type of person. You're supposed to reach a group of folks that you are entrusted with in your circle. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has a circle. I don't care who you are. Everybody has a circle of people, you know. Somebody, you know, I'm a geeky dude. You know what I mean? I've got some of the best friends ever in life. You know what I mean? There's a circle of people around me. Sometimes I wonder, man, why can't I've never been a cool kid. I've never this, that, and the other, you know. But I'm not supposed to be. Right. I'm not supposed to be star basketball player. My back wasn't made for that. You know what I mean? I'm the band geek who happens to be on the radio now. You know what I mean? That's just me. And to stay in your lane, to own what you have, to be who God made you to be, that's first and foremost. To understand that. And then just to understand that, man, there's only 3 things you can do in this world: plant a seed, water it, or be the light for it to grow. That's you know? And you don't get to choose which one you are.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You just have to do you. And one of those 3 things are going to happen.
Exactly. And know and acknowledge at every moment that that's what you're to do. That's what the plan is. And if you don't know who you are, just continue to let Him love you, and He'll show you who you are. Chris
was talking about, you know, some of the people at New Reality, you know, they come from GLC, Great Life, Great Learning Center. Yeah. They are fresh into the ministry, you know, they're fresh out of jail, out of recovery, or fresh into recovery, all these things, they're fresh. And so he said at the end of service, he said, I want you to pick one person and just go pray with them. If you don't know how to pray, just talk to God. You know, that's what praying is. And I think that was so huge that he did that, because a lot of people will go to a service and just sit there and leave not knowing what to do, not understanding that it's that easy. Anyway, A few things I just want to throw out. April 19th, Good Friday, 11 a.m., New Hope Christian Center. We're carrying the cross through town to the World Peace Bell and then a message afterward. I want to thank New Reality for being so supportive and awesome. Fort Mitchell Baptist Church every Friday, 6 p.m. So, not that early. And everybody who loves and supports us, thank you to Flip Daddies down in Newport. Again, thank you for listening and supporting OKaye, Let's Be Frank. This has been another episode. Check us out Wednesday at 12 on 1320 a.m. WCVG, The Voice.
Bye.
Thanks for listening every day to the Voice of
Hey, thank you guys. Check us out again if you want a partnership with OKaye, Let's Be Frank. We're going to get things moving for sure. Next couple of weeks we're going to be kind of vamping up what our ministry is and honing it down and whatever. 2019 is going to be great to us. God's going to get the glory in all this. If you want to support, be a partner, hit us up, let us know, and we will figure out how to make that happen for sure. We appreciate you. Tune in Wednesday.
See y'all.
12 o'clock. Adios.
Bye.